Hey guys and gals, welcome. So glad you guys are here. We are back for another edition of Midweek Online. Got some special folks in here today.
Woo!
What's up, Kylie Malone, our
y'all.
college minister. She's into his house. And then, of course, my bride. What's up, Tammy?
Not much.
How you doing?
I'm here.
What you been up to, Tammy?
Same thing. We have this discussion every week. It's the same thing. Hopefully this week it's going to change, though. That's my hope.
Well, good. We'll see if that happens. Spurge is in the house. We are excited to have him here with us. Right now, we got a special little message from our friend Lily Bullington. Lily is going to be sharing some scripture with us this week. So take it away, Lily.
Hey FBC Youth, it's Lily, and I will be doing this week's midweek. God really put on my heart that we should talk about friendship, and so I really hope that y'all take this to heart, and I'll keep praying about y'all. So throughout the book, Jesus is teaching his disciples about fruitfulness. Fruitfulness, just a little mini definition, it means the productivity of something or the multiplying of something. So in this case, it is the effectiveness of spreading the gospel through relationships, such as friendship. I believe that Jesus strongly encourages us to use this as a positive effect on others, and that it is probably one of the most effective ways to spread the gospel. A metaphor that I love to use and that really kind of simplifies the concept of this down where a lot of people can understand it is that we are all a plant, that God represents a gardener. He waters us, he cares for us, he does everything in the best intention possible for us. And then Jesus signifies the main branch, the true branch, or the true vine. He is what we go off of to mimic our lives. And then we represent the branches. And so he wants us to go and bear fruit in his name to where we are an example of what he is. This also kind of goes into the topic of love and how friendship and love correspond with each other. One of my favorite verses is John 15, 13 through 14. It says, "My command is this, love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command." This kind of implies that love cannot, or friendship cannot exist without love. Friendship is the product of love, and that we should use this to help create a gateway for people. Jesus had shown love when he died on the cross. He showed love to everyone who was against him. Jesus' friends betrayed him. Judas, for example, he betrayed God or Jesus when he needed him most, but Jesus still loves him and he still forgave him, and that's kind of what a true definition of a friend is. It's someone we can always turn to in times of trouble. The Apostle Paul, he wrote 1 Corinthians, I believe, and in the Bible, 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 7 says, "Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast. It is not proud, it does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered, it keeps no records of wrong. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres." This little passage, it kind of states what love should be and what love shouldn't be, such as love is patient, love is kind. It is not envy, it does not boast. These are great examples of what a friend should be and how we should, what we should look for in a friend and how we should be in a friend. So I hope that you take this to heart, and I'm so thankful for y'all. See y'all later.
Thanks, Lily. Appreciate that. That's awesome. And remember, if any of you guys out there have some scripture you'd like to share with us, or maybe just some thoughts on some things, shoot the video and send it in to us. We'd love to put it online and let people share what's going on in your life and what God's doing. Today, special topic, we are talking about transitioning, and we're talking about changes. And so, especially with students this time of year, especially the thing that just kind of got me going and thinking about this was with our high school seniors. This past week we had our graduation Sunday, the week before. Yes, congrats to the grads. You rock.
We love y'all.
We do. And then the week before that, we had our college graduation,
Woo, woo, woo.
which was really cool. So we just want to kind of talk about like what does that look like in a person's life? And I think the best way for us to start off with this is to talk about junior high, because I love junior high. I do. I
spent a
taught
lot of time with junior
I
high.
know, and that's why we got Tammy, to share a little bit today. I taught junior high. I love junior high students. They're crazy. They're nuts. They're
All those things.
Yeah, they're all that. Do you remember when you were in junior high?
I try to forget, Lee. I really do try to forget, but I do remember when I was in junior high, and I wore those really tight. This is gonna age me. Those Hollister T-shirts and those cargo-looking plaid shorts that went down to your knees, and rainbow flip-flops. So you're welcome. I was styling.
And I wish we had a picture.
So
Yeah, we need a picture of
that's
that.
enough of a mental image.
Can we get a
right
picture of
there.
that?
That would be great.
I'll have to consult with my lawyer.
Consult with
see
your
about
lawyer
that.
on it?
Yeah.
Do you remember what were some of the bands you listened to when you were in junior high? Do you remember?
Gosh.
Did you have a crush on anybody, like a
No,
man crush?
I don't know if I had a crush on anybody. What's the
Man
band that
crush?
sings? It's kind of like angsty teen rage. The band that sings dance. Fall Out Boy.
Fallout
Fall Out
Boy.
Boy. I
Fall Out
listened to
Boy.
Fall Out Boy.
Okay.
When I was that age, yeah. So I don't
there you
know
go.
I'm
what you
telling
gonna
you.
do. You're learning
Fall Out
more.
Boy.
Oh boy.
What about you? Junior high? What do you remember about junior high?
I mean, it wasn't terrible. I didn't hate junior high, but I think it's just a hard transition. It's a hard time for a lot of people because there's so much change and there's so much growing. I remember when we were in junior high, really want to age us, everybody wanted to be Madonna. Remember that? Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes.
It did. They did.
Madonna.
They all had yeah, it was
Yep,
bad.
I know where you were gonna go with that,
was
and I
bad.
know what you mean.
It was so bad. Like they had they would dress like her, and
She's not really the type of
it was bad.
She was such a
It's
material
bad.
girl.
So yeah, but I mean, it's just not. It's not. It's
Was it a
hard
good
transition.
experience? Did
It
you have a rough transition going from elementary to middle school and then of course to high school?
Mine wasn't a rough transition because I knew I had grown up with all these people and I knew everybody, that we were combining two schools and I had gone to both schools. So I knew pretty much everybody coming in. So I didn't feel like it was a rough transition. Not for me. It wasn't.
What about you with the change? Do you remember when you went from
Yeah.
junior high to high school?
I do, and it wasn't a rough transition. Like I was, I kind of knew people, and it was just kind of like the next step. And I was excited. I went in, no longer wearing those tight Hollister shirts and the dark ring of eyeliner. I had to get rid of that, before freshman year of high school. But yeah. I don't know. I was just out there vibing, y'all.
So did you? This happens a lot of times with students. They'll start off in one group of friends and they transition to another group of friends. Did that happen to you guys? Do you remember
Absolutely.
friends changing?
Yeah, I think so.
How so?
Absolutely. For me, it was a pretty dramatic, not like dramatic like, but like dramatic as in it was a very starkly drastic change. I cheered in high school. Shout out to my cheer people if y'all cheer.
Sprinkles.
Yeah, shout out to y'all. I cheered in high school, but unfortunately, a lot of the girls on my team had different lifestyles than me and different ways of talking about other people than I did. And I, before my senior year of high school, I ended up I didn't try out the next year. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I really plugged into my campus ministry, or I guess high school ministry, and it changed my entire life. I had a new set of friends. It was a big leap of faith because I went from, being a part of this team where we did everything together, but I wasn't happy, to finding who my real friends were. And so it was a pretty drastic change. I don't know. Not saying quit your team. That's not what I'm saying. I cheered in college. Don't quit your team. But anyway.
What about you?
Well, not for me so much. I mean, the transitions were easy, but I'll just say, speaking now as as a teacher who's in junior high and watching these kids, and especially here where we've got all these elementary schools that are going to be coming together. And we have now some, we have sixth graders who are about to move into our ministry.
And we've got
into
Belinda,
junior high.
our children's minister. She's going to be on a future episode in a couple of weeks talking about, kids moving up and things like that. But let's focus a little bit about, what about when you were in high school and junior high, back to the whole issue of, hey, what changed when you made that transition? When you left middle school or junior high. I keep saying middle school here.
We say middle school. I know.
We said middle school where we're
junior
from.
high.
It's junior high. But when you made that switch to high school, what were some of the things that just kind of changed?
Well, that's what I was saying. And I think one of the things that they're going to see here is that your friends do change so much because you're coming together. You're going to meet so many new people. And you may not be at the same school with the friends you were with in elementary school. And so your friends are definitely going to change. And it takes time to let that happen and get comfortable with new people. And so going into junior high or going from junior high to high school, those friends change, and you've got to find that group that you're comfortable with and that you really feel like are your real friends, that you can be yourself and you're not having to be something that you're not. And
or you don't have to force yourself to reinvent yourself.
Right.
Yes.
Because I've seen a lot of kids do that. Like they'll be known for one thing maybe in junior high, and then when they go to high school, they feel like they got to reinvent themselves, and they put that added pressure on them to conform and to be something that they're really not, just so they'll fit in.
Yeah.
And I think there's a danger in that.
There is.
I mean,
Absolutely.
it gets you off the path. It steals your focus away from the things that I think are really important that God puts in your life.
And there's no joy in that.
No.
I wasn't, when I was hanging out with people before I found my tribe, I guess, in high school, when I was
Your
hanging
tribe.
out with
I
other people.
like that. I like that.
You got to vibe out with your tribe.
That's right.
But before I found my tribe in high school, the people I was hanging out with didn't really understand me, and so there wasn't any joy in conforming to act a way that I knew I wasn't supposed to act. So
Yeah, that gets hard. And I think one thing that students who have grown up in a church, been a part of children's ministry, and now going into youth ministry or moving into that high school ministry, I mean, you've got to stay true to what you believe. And a lot of students get into junior high and get into high school and try to start being something they're not. You got to stay true to who you are, and you got to be nice to people. Like that was always,
yes.
You've got to be a nice person, because when you leave high school and you go away, they remember, some of those people you won't see again for 10 years. You may not see them again to your 10-year reunion. They remember you from high school.
Right.
And if you were not a nice person in high school, that's how they remember you for 10 years. And that's what
They're looking through the yearbook going, that's jerk face
so
right there.
mean.
That's
Yeah.
the person that was mean to me and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and so my strongest thing is be nice to people. I mean, you may not be everybody's best friend. You may not hang out with everybody all the time, but just be nice to people, because that's how they remember you. So even if you're not comfortable being a part of that tribe and your friend group is over here, just be nice to them. That's I watch that with students a lot who just are not nice. Be a nice person. That's how they're going to remember you.
It doesn't hurt to be nice. Not at all.
No.
Not at all. All right, so we've kind of covered this area. College. You graduate, you go through high school, you graduate, you go to college, okay? Definitely you got changes of expectations, changes of
Absolutely.
responsibility. Relationships change.
everything changes. So as we said a second ago, the transition from junior high to high school, it's a big transition. So if you're making that transition, I'm not saying that it's not a big transition, but the transition from high school to college is even bigger. Everything changes. You're no longer at home. Some of you might be. It depends on if you go to a vocational school or a local university. But for a lot of you, you're leaving home for the first time. You're surrounded by completely new people for the first time. Even if you have tons of friends going to your university, you're still going to be surrounded by so many new people. The chances of you having a class with all your friends in it, it's incredibly slim in college. You don't make your classes based on who is in your classes anymore. You make your classes based on what you want to graduate with.
What degree you're
your
pursuing,
degree,
that sort
your
of
degree.
thing.
And so everything changes. And something that I've seen, working with college students, is that the first 3 weeks into your college career really set the stage for the rest of your 4 years.
Sure.
I know that sounds super intense, the first 3 weeks, but who you hang out with the first 3 weeks, what habits you create the first three weeks, what settings you put yourself in the first 3 weeks, they really set the stage for the rest of your college career, and it can make it or break it. I know a lot of people that did not make good decisions their first 3 weeks, and they could never catch up, and they ended up failing out of college.
And it's hard to turn midstream.
Oh, yeah.
Like once you start going down a certain path in
Yeah.
college, it's hard to turn.
Because everybody
And-
expects you to stay whatever path
Exactly,
that you're in.
exactly.
And so if you start out college on the wrong foot, I'm not saying there's not hope for you, but I'm saying there is wisdom in trying to start college off on the right foot. There's more freedom if you start college
Right.
off on the right foot.
And I think that's so important. And there again, we have that temptation to try to go and reinvent yourself.
Yeah.
I think that happens in college, probably even more so than in junior high to high school.
Yeah, I think there's less accountability in college,
There
right?
you go.
There's less accountability. And in high school, if you're like, that girl is a real crowd, if you're like out partying, I'm just gonna say it, we're gonna be honest here. If you're out partying, if you're out drinking, I don't know what y'all are doing. I don't know. But if you're out up to no good and you know you're out up to no good,
You sneak around.
you
with
have
it.
to sneak around with it.
Yeah.
And I know some of y'all's parents. Yeah, not all of y'all's parents, but I know some of them, and they're probably low key kind of hard to sneak
Right,
around. You
right.
have built-in accountability
Right.
living at home.
That's right.
Whereas when you're in college, you have to seek out accountability.
Oh,
It's
that's
not-
good.
it's not just given
That's
to you.
good.
That's
There,
right.
There's definitely
Yeah.
that is a big difference.
Yeah, and so community is a really, really important aspect of college. You're going to hear that word 18 million times when you get to college, like community building, all this stuff. So it's kind of a watered down word, but the essence behind it is the people that you surround yourself with are usually the type of people that you act like yourself. Somebody told me one
The
time.
tribe that you're vibing with again?
The
I
tribe
love
you're
that.
vibing with. So somebody told me one time, you're an average of the 5 personalities that you hang out with the most.
That's good.
And that doesn't apply just in college
No,
either. That applies
no,
across the whole gamut from
Yeah.
junior high to high school.
So think
That makes a
about-
lot of
yeah,
sense.
Think
It
about the
does.
5 people that you hang out with the most. Are they people that you want to be like? Are they people that have personality traits and faith that you want to embody yourself? Or are they people that you're like, I don't really like how he talks to his mom. I don't really like X, Y, and Z. And I'm not saying be like, I'm better than everybody. But I'm saying when you go to college, you have kind of a fresh slate, right? So it's important that you hang out with people that act in a way that you would want to act yourself. So, for example, I want to get better at piano. I'm trying to teach myself. I'm pretty much trash right now at piano. I'm just going to be honest. We can be honest here. That's what we're doing.
Honesty
Can't
is what
play
we're all
anything,
about.
so-
here.
Honesty is what we're about.
That's
So,
right.
if I'm trying to get better at piano, am I going to try to learn from somebody by hanging out with all these people that just started playing piano 2 days ago? No.
You want to hang out with the people that have played forever and can
Yeah.
make you a better player.
Exactly. And I think that our walk with Christ is the same way. If I want to be diligent in my walk with Christ, and I'm
Now we're
not
talking about
just-
discipleship here. We're
Yeah,
not
oh,
talking
yeah.
about just relationships. We're talking about discipleship on
Yeah.
top of that. Okay.
Yeah. if I want to be serious about my walk with Christ, and I'm not just saying that, but I actually mean it, then I'm going to hang out with other people that
That's
I've been
right.
walking with Christ faithfully.
That's right.
And sometimes you have to seek those people out in college.
Oh, yeah.
You have to find your group of people who are like you, who you want to influence
Well,
you.
I even
and
think you have to seek them out in high school too.
You do.
But it's just not as difficult, I think, because of that accountability factor. I think a lot more people are more focused on their faith and at least holding up the appearance of that.
Yeah.
In college, you don't have that.
Right.
In college, you don't have people sitting there, trying to hold you accountable. Like you said, you have to seek those people out. And a lot of times you don't really know how they are until you've invested enough time in them to figure out, hey, this person isn't really who they said they were.
Oh, everyone's going to say, like, not everybody, but a large majority of people, especially within the South, they're going to be like, I go to church, I'm a Christian.
Right.
So, I really look at somebody's actions.
Right.
If you want to be friends with somebody, that's taking their faith seriously, you have to look for fruit. If somebody says they go to church, that's great. I'm super excited for them, but that doesn't really mean anything.
Right.
Look at their heart. a relationship with Jesus isn't just going to church; it's a heart change. So,
and I remember, like in college, when I had gone to Centrifuge that summer before
Yeah,
I
yeah.
started college, and I was looking for I went to LSU. I was looking for other Christians to really build some friendships with, and I remember sitting in an English class, and another girl in the English class had on a Centrifuge T-shirt, and I kid you not, I chased her down after class, as strange as that may sound, and was like, "Did you go to Centrifuge?" and had a conversation with her.
Stalking people.
She became one of my best friends in college, but I knew that we had something in common,
Yeah.
and I was like, that's somebody I want to talk to. And so you've got to be willing in college to reach out and talk to new people, but really seek people who are like you, who share the same values as you, and that's hard sometimes. You have to really look for that.
put yourself out there, and popularity is not really a thing
It's not
in
the
college.
same. No, not at all.
Sorry if y'all are, super popular in high school. I hate to burst your bubble, but it's not really as big of a deal in college, kind of at all. Nobody really cares at
Become
all.
a little fish in a big pond.
Yeah,
at
nobody
that point.
cares. Like, if you were, the it person in high school, just go be a nice person in college and people will like you. Don't,
Right.
Don't try to,
Right.
don't care. You stop caring what other people think is what I'm saying. Because if you're the type of person that really cares about what other people think, people won't like you in college.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
I work with college students. I know how it is, y'all. I'm not that far removed
You will
from
carry
college.
that tag of being very superficial.
Yes, yeah.
And I think people want authenticity.
Yes.
They want someone who's genuine as a friend. They want somebody who's loyalty. I think loyalty has a lot to it. What are you loyal to? I think that's a question you have to ask whenever you develop relationships in college. I would even say even in high school too. What are you loyal to? But the thing about it is, and before we get to in a few minutes, a few seconds, I'm gonna let you share a little bit about what opportunities
Yeah, I'd love to talk about that.
the seniors have as they move into college. But I just want to remind everybody, the biblical precedent for this is that God uses changes in a person's life to help them grow. And so as you're going through these changes right now, as you're moving from junior high to high school, from high school to college, you got to realize that God's going to use this in your life to help you grow in your walk and in your faith. It's going to help. You're going to have so many opportunities and what I like to call divine appointments. God's going to put those things in your life to help you grow as a disciple. And this is not something that's new. The disciples themselves experienced this. They went from fishermen and tax collectors all the way to men of faith who helped bring Christianity to where it is today. We can all trace ourselves back to those original disciples and how obedient they were in their walks. And so that's just something to kind of keep in mind that God uses that in a person's life. There's a scripture. It's in Proverbs 16. I'll put this down in the comments section, and it says it's like one of my favorite verses in the Old Testament. Proverbs 16:9. It said, "A person's heart plans his way, but the Lord determines his steps." I like that. We always think things are going to turn out a certain way, and then life happens, and it doesn't turn out that way. And when that happens, how we respond to that says a lot about who we are as not only a Christian but as a person. How do we handle things when things don't happen the way we expect them to or the way we want them to? And that's a part of life. It happens. It happens in life. When you get out of school, as an adult, it's going to happen. Things are going to happen that they're going to be not what you expected. But just remember that the Lord determines our steps. How we respond to something is because of our relationship with God. And that's important to keep in mind. If the Lord's important to us, that's what we remember. Things as simple as being nice to people.
Oh yeah.
We can't be angry representatives of Christ. Does that make sense? Mm-mm. Just being nice to people.
I think it's important to remember that you don't go to college and forget what you learned all the way through high school and junior high. You go to college and you're still a Christian. I think sometimes high school students go to college and they don't have that accountability, and they don't have someone waking them up every Sunday morning to go to church, and they don't have a friend that says, "Hey, are you meeting me at church?" And sometimes they just kind of let that fall away. And I think that's important to remember, that once you go to college, you should still be seeking out opportunities to be a disciple of Christ.
Yeah, and I think I completely agree with that. And I think that a way to do that, if just shameless plug right here. A way to do that,
Let's do
if
it.
you are an Arkansas State University student, you can join us on Wednesday nights, literally at the church across the street. I'm pointing as if y'all can see me. I know y'all can't. But yeah, 709 Union. And Wednesday nights at 7:30, we have pack night. And so that's just a time to have fellowship. Sometimes we have food. We got tamales catered in before, so that's like a fan favorite. All types of stuff. But yeah, so it's a time of worship, food, and fellowship, and it's really awesome. College students go to it. So you're invited if you're here in the area, if you're an Arkansas State University student, or if you're, well, going to go there, or if you're just going to be local and you're like, hey, I'm not plugged in anywhere, but I know that I'm graduating. You're so welcome to join us. You don't have to be going to A-State to join us.
And
So
what if they don't go to A-State?
they're so welcome. So it's called pack night, but I don't want that to make you feel like you're excluded. You're still definitely a
Right.
part of this faith family, and you're definitely included in on whatever we're up to. So college grads, if you want to join us, that's what it looks like. Obviously, over the summer we're kind of at a hiatus because
right.
a lot of college students go home.
So where do they find out more information? Like if they wanted to go online and find information about what all is
Yes.
going on with the college ministry, where would you point them?
Yeah, we have a Facebook page. You just put a thumb on it. You like
You know,
it.
it's that
Yeah.
thing your parents go to.
Yeah, basically, yeah. A lot of y'all don't have Facebook, so we have
Yeah.
Facebook and Instagram. So if
There
you
you go.
look up, I think it's just called First University Jonesboro. You'll be able to find it, and it has our logo on it. It's just an F with like a circle around it, and so maybe I can get you the link to it. And you
Yeah,
can
we'll put it down in the
Yeah,
comment
comment
section.
below. But we also have Instagram. I know a lot of y'all don't do the Facebook thing.
Yeah.
So.
But in almost all colleges, no matter where you're going, all colleges are going to have Christian programs where you can plug in, similar to what
BCM.
the BCM is a place to start, and then they can point you towards your local churches. But the BCM is a great place to start. I know for our son, that was such a great place for him to plug in, and then it led him to a local church. It's not the local church, but it'll lead you there to places like what Kylie has here. And so it's a great place to get started, but you do want to go find a local church. And one great thing, they will feed you a lot.
Oh, they will
You can
feed
always
you.
find free food
Yes.
at these
Tam-
places. It's a
Tam was
good
all about
place
getting
to
the
start.
groceries.
Look, it's a good place to start with some food, and it's good food. But that's a good place. Find a place where you can plug in, like the BCM or like what Kylie has at Pack Night, and get plugged in there. And even if you are the only person you know who is going, go.
Bring a friend.
Yeah, you'll
the more
meet
the
new
merrier.
people, and
you
it will
know?
be so
Yeah.
fun. And you need to do that. And
That's awesome.
no matter where you're going, find that place, and that's important.
Well, guys, anything else you want to share?
There's one more transition I think we should mention real quickly.
Okay, real quick.
And that is we have a lot of juniors who are about to step up and be seniors. And I just want to encourage them. That's a big transition because you're trying to focus on all these things, all this college, that you're looking at. And I just want to encourage a lot of these juniors who are about to step into that senior position and that transition to keep focused and keep Christ first. Don't feel like church isn't important anymore because now I'm focusing on college.
Right.
You need to step up and be leaders
Finish
wherever
strong.
you are and finish strong in your youth
Right.
group as well as in school. So I just want to hit that transition real quickly.
Awesome. Ladies, it's awesome. Thank you, Kylie, for being here with us today.
Thank y'all.
Did you have
Love
Kylie show her
y'all.
bling off?
Yeah. Oh, speaking of changes, transitions, what's up with them? Woo!
Yes, I am engaged.
Awesome.
So speaking of not knowing what the future holds and stuff
Right.
like that,
Right.
Who knows?
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Well, folks,
gonna
thanks for joining us this week. We love you. Stay safe. A lot of things going on. Just be good and be kind to one another.
That's right.
I like that. Be kind.
Bye.
Bye,
See
y'all.
y'all soon.